Hey guys, I want to make a video showing my Earth DPS and Earth Tank uh, loadouts. I've had people ask what I have, so I figured make a video just as a reference, something to point them to. And I'd say both my DPS and tank loadouts are fairly standard. I may um, mix them around a little bit, but for the most part, they don't deviate from what most other Earth DPS and Earth tanks are using. So I'll start with my Earth DPS loadout and just kind of explain why I have what I have. Debris field is just a dot, and when it's enemies are crushed or dazed, does a little bit extra damage. Not too much more, but it still does extra. So I mostly use this on bosses or ads, large groups of ads that have a lot of health or stuff like that. You're not going to want to use it on trash ads that you're going to burn through quickly because they're not going to feel all the dots. And then Crystal, obviously you need it as an Earth DPS. She, after I think 47 or I forget which update where they just made her hit crazy hard, it'd be silly not to use her. Um, Even though me personally, I prefer an aftershock AM, but I don't see that ever happening. And then my next power is Rumble Crush. Um, but the way Crystal works is she does increased damage to enemies that are crushed or dazed, or after you cast Fortify Golem. So having a PI applicator isn't really necessary if you have Fortify Golem, but it's usually how I start my rotations. It'll be Rumble Crush, clipped with Reinforce, and then I can start my rotation from there. And I have another video showing my rotation. But yeah, so Rumble Crush is used to start my rotations, and it's also used to clip weapon attacks with, just for a little bit of extra damage. Reinforce, pretty much every Earth DPS should have this. Increases your precision and critical strike chance for weapon and abilities. So you pretty much it's a must-have if you're an Earth DPS. As is Fortify Golem, because you need Crystal. You're gonna need Fortify Golem. Um, and like I was saying earlier, as it says, it gives her power. So basically, the way Fortify Golem works is that it'll give her enough power to pull off about 2 additional attacks, and I'll just let it uh, get all the way before I start. So you get 1, and then 2 attacks off of 1 Fortify Golem, and that's about what you're gonna get every time you cast Fortify Golem, is 2 attacks from her. Um, I think after like certain amount of rotations of casting Fortify Golem, just with the way that the power back or the way it gives her power, you'll get 3 attacks every now and again. But for the most part, just expect like 2 big special attacks from her whenever you cast Fortify Golem. And then the last, my last slot is the one that changes the most for me. Um, a lot of times I'll have Totem against groups of large ads. Not trash ads that I can burn through quick, but just like large ads or certain boss fights. I'll just keep Totem in there. It's just a small dot, so don't worry about if you can't get it right on the boss. It's not That's not too important. What's more important for that is it gives you a slight crit ability and crit weapon attack chance. I think it's only 3% for both, and then it also heals Crystal. So it's kind of a jack of all trades powers where it kind of does a bunch of stuff but doesn't do anything well. But it's still a good utility power to have for Crystal. It's just another small heal, small crit chance for you, and then a small dot. So it's not the worst power, but it's not the best. But what I do a lot is I'll switch Totem out with a vacuum bubble, and I forget what the parallel is for if you're a speedster or if you're acrobatics. But basically, what this does is it does some damage, but it also returns power to the group and your any pets that are in the group. So basically, the way I use that is to just give Crystal more power, and it doesn't give a lot of power, like you'll see right now. And then I'll cast. vacuum bubble. You see, it's kind of like a supercharge for her, basically, is the way vacuum bubble works. Is see how she just was spamming her special attacks for quite a bit. If you can time that with Fortify Golem, right, you can keep her spamming powers for about 12 seconds between then. So you can get some pretty good damage off of that. So that's what I use Vacuum Bubble for. I use it for boss fights a lot. Um, and then on occasion, I won't just use it for Crystal. It also helps the group. You know, it's not a lot of power for the group, but still, any little bit helps. And especially if I have space on my loadout, there's no reason not to use it. So that's basically what I do as Earth DPS. Only thing that I really switch out is Totem and Vacuum Bubble. Everything else is pretty much, I just leave it. And then I've had people ask what I'm doing with this. It's just dazing device. I use it to clip weapon attacks and abilities. I use it a lot to stun enemies in alert and raid situations. And then it also sets up the PI, but that's not too big a deal. But mostly to clip and to stun enemies in raid alert situations. I like to use that. It can come in handy. And then for my tank, some people use brick to pet tank, just since pet tanking's been buffed, and that's completely fine. It's viable. Just my playstyle, I've never enjoyed it. I've never liked having brick out there in pressure situations, like when you need a tank, you know, when your survivability is important. And then my loadout for my tank, for the most part, I changed some stuff up, but not too much. Gemstone, it's a good shield, very good shield. And when you're casting Gemstone, I have a video showing how it's bugged. But whenever you cast it, you want to make sure you aftershock it at least once or twice. Right here, I aftershocked it 2 times to get the 3 rings around me. If you cast Gemstone Shield, but you don't aftershock it at all, when you just get the 1 stone floating around you, currently it's bugged, where if you just cast it from tray and leave it like that, it's gonna break immediately. Like, it doesn't matter how much or how little damage, it's gonna break almost immediately. And I've actually I made a bug report and I've made some threads about it, but so far devs haven't done anything about that. So if you see my bug report on the forum, I'd appreciate it if you thumbs that up or like it. I don't even know what you do, just like vote on it. But I'll probably leave a link for that in the description sometime soon. But alright, so yeah, it's Gemstone. Really good shield. I don't recommend ever aftershocking it all the way, just because it's gonna disappear faster. The way you want Gemstone to work is aftershock it once or twice. It'll last a little bit longer, and it'll slow the damage. That's all it's for. You don't want it to. Don't think of it like as a hard light shield or ice's shield. You don't want to stop damage. You want to slow it down. So that's why just aftershock it once. So you got the 2 up there. Once is probably the best. 2's good too. You don't want to aftershock it 3 times ever. And then for the rest of my loadout, Soothing Sands, just a breakout. It gives a small heal. The heal is nothing to write home about. So I wouldn't cast that if you're just trying to heal yourself. You know, that's just silly. Earth isn't a self-healing tank. You can't really do that. So yeah, it's mostly just for the breakout, just because I want to have at least 1 breakout. It's a good idea for a tank to have at least 1 breakout. 2 preferably, but at least 1. Pheromone Bloom, I've been messing around with what type of supercharge I can have as an Earth tank, just because I want to have at least 1. The 1 tank one we have, Envelop, it would be good, but unfortunately, the way that this game works is whenever a tank encases himself, either with Envelop, I think Ice has an encasement, or Clown Box, you lose all aggro. So if I was to cast Envelop in a raid situation, I would lose aggro and they would attack the group and everyone would die. So basically can't use that. And I had been running with my movement supercharged vacuum bubble or word of power, but I wanted something that maybe could heal me a little bit. And pheromone bloom has really weak heals. It has a pretty weak burst heal and then followed by really small a heal over time. It's kind of insignificant, but at this point I have nothing else to put on there. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll switch pheromone bloom with unstoppable, which is another breakout. It knocks him down, so that helps too. So sometimes I'll just run with unstoppable instead. Or say if we're doing 2 tanks, then I'll put in stone, which is the one that it's my single target taunt, so I can throw that in. But this spot right here, the L2 circle, is kind of where I just mess around. I'll throw whatever I feel like at the moment. But for what I've been running with a lot is pheromone bloom, just for the small heal. Epicenter, it's the worst point blank AoE pull in the game, especially when you compare it to Rage without Mercy and then Fire's Backdraft. Both of those, they'll pull, they'll knock up, and they'll heal. Epicenter, all it does is pull. It doesn't do anything else. So it's kind of lackluster in that regard. But I just like having an AoE pull, just to cluster enemies. It just makes the burn a little bit smoother and more efficient and whatnot. Jackhammer, that's how I get my 50% absorption. And basically the way Jackhammer works is you cast it once from Trey, you'll get I believe 8 seconds of absorption, and then for each aftershock after that, I think it goes 1 aftershock is 12 seconds, 2 aftershocks is 15, and then 3 aftershocks is 18 seconds of 50% damage absorption. So basically you want to try to aftershock 3 times as often as you can, just so you always have that cushion in case you have to go an extended period of time without casting Jackhammer. If you have to block for longer than you intended, you still have that cushion of 18 seconds to let you do other stuff. And what's also really underrated about Jackhammer is that it is really, really good for crowd control. Like you're not going to be able to knock them up like that all the time, but I believe they don't become immune to you just using Jackhammer until after like the 8th or 9th hit. So it's a really good move if you're surrounded by ads and you want to get some breathing room. A little Jackhammer spam, if you use it intelligently, isn't a bad idea. I use that quite a bit when I'm going through hallways, just to keep the ads up in the air so I'm not even getting hit. So yeah, and also Jackhammer looks cool as shit. I mean, god damn it, look at that. It's fucking manly. I love that move. I love Jackhammer. It's probably my favorite move in the game. And then low pressure, just a long range pull. Sometimes I'll put in Earth and Grip for aesthetic's sake. But yeah, just low pressure. Or sometimes I'll switch. If I don't need a long range pull, then I'll put in Unstoppable in that spot. Or if we're doing 2 tanks and I don't need a long range pull, I'll put in Stone. So I'm low pressure and Pheromone Bloom, I kind of switch around, but the other 4 slots, Gemstone, Soothing Sands, Epicenter, Jackhammer, I almost always have those. So yeah, those are my 2 loadouts for Earth Tank and Earth DPS. And I do have a damage tank loadout. I probably won't go into that, but I'll just say it just real quick. It's just Reinforce, Brick, Shards, Epicenter, Earthquake, and Totem. This is more just kind of a fun loadout for me. These are just powers like I enjoy. Shard looks cool. Earthquake looks cool. And the only reason I run with Brick is just because I usually use this loadout, the damage loadout, for lower tier content where it doesn't, survivability doesn't matter. So I don't even have Fortify Golem up with this. This is just kind of my fun loadout to dick around with and stuff. But yeah, so those are my 3 loadouts. Earth DPS, Earth Tank, and then Earth Battle Tank. So if you have any questions or whatnot, just leave a comment in the comment section. And thanks for watching.